Bologov Sergei Alexandrovich, born on September 26, 1975.
26 сентября 75 года рождения.
Served in the 66th Brigade, 1st BAT, 1st Company, as a rifleman.
Первая рота.
As for how I ended up at the front, that was on July 26th, actually. I left the rehabilitation center in the morning to get a drink, to buy something at the kiosk, vodka, beer. Well, a van suddenly pulled up. The van was from the military enlistment office. 5 people shoved me into the van, and they took me to the enlistment office, to the Shevchenkivsky enlistment office. There they told me that I was wanted by the police. But in reality, when the police checked, I wasn't wanted. And they didn't let me take my passport or my mobile phone. They didn't give me that opportunity. On the 27th and 26th, I went through the medical commission. According to the medical commission, I have a bunch of illnesses, but as for my health, my state of health, I was considered fit everywhere. Fit everywhere. I passed the medical commission in 10 minutes. Well, that's how I ended up at the district military office, at the training center. So, I spent about 2 months there, and then there was a disbandment. Buyers, as they called them, from the brigades would come by, and we were advised to go to the 66th Brigade. That's how I ended up in the 1st Airborne Assault Battalion, 1st Company, in the 66th Mechanized Brigade. They brought us to a house and said, "You'll be here until 2 in the morning." And at 2 in the morning, someone will come from my group. We spent the time until 2 a.m., getting our gear together, taking rations, canned meat, everything we needed, cigarettes, anything necessary. Our backpacks were already so heavy, up to 60 kilograms. I'm 50 years old, an old man with a 60-kilogram backpack, and 8 kilometers to go, as they explained. At 2 o'clock, a vehicle arrived at Talaga, and we drove for about an hour to the drop-off point. We got to the point, but I don't know anything about phones or maps how to get there. We had a leader with us who understood all that. He guided us. He led us along the whole route just fine. We walked all day, and by evening we were at the point near Saraya Kupka, the exact spot we needed to reach. At first we wanted to spend the night at the bottom because it was hot and there were drones with thermal imagers flying around, and there was no way to hide from them. But then we decided to move on to our designated point after all. One person couldn't go any further, so he was left in the grove. And I had to go with my group. They added me to it, to the point, to the firing position. That's how I ended up at the firing position. There were 3 of us, we checked the area, and we replaced the 60th Brigade. Yes, I think it was the 60th Brigade we replaced. They had been stationed there together. We took over, but they promised us that we would be there for 3 weeks. But it turned out we stayed there longer. Well, we spent about a month there without any real incidents. Everything was fine. But when the forest started to thin out, we became more visible. And then, at one point, they spotted us and destroyed our dugout with grenades and FPV drones. See, this is from an FPV. That's the scar. Well, not a scar yet, just a scratch and some plastic. So we decided to run, because it got buried, and the dugout was really narrow. I could only get in there without a bulletproof vest or helmet. When the massive attack from the sky started, everything got buried. Everyone ran however they could, crawled out of the dugout however they could, in whatever they could manage. Since I was the oldest, I couldn't keep up with the younger guys. They were like, come on, faster. So basically, I got separated from them. I'm actually a religious person, and thanks to God I survived. And after that I didn't want to go back. I did think about returning there, to the dugout, but that would have meant certain death. So I wandered through the forest for 3 days. Well, not exactly the forest. It was more like brushwood, that's what we call it. I spent 3 days hungry, catching mice at night, roasting them over lighter and eating them. Well, I came across a lot of corpses, especially there was a Ukrainian soldier's body there. From what I understood, he didn't die from shelling. I found a box next to him. I was hoping to find cigarettes on him. I found an e-cigarette, so I smoked that. The body was already a few days old, but still.
Трупов особенно
I opened the box and there were 2 syringes inside.
украинский военный.
Well, I guess he died of an overdose.
Он умер, ну,
On the 3rd day, I went again to the stream to get some water because there was nothing to collect it in, no bottles, nothing at all.
сигарету.
The grove was all cut down, well, half cut down,
Ну, все равно.
but you could still hide there.
Коробочку там
Whenever something happened, if drones flew over, I would immediately crawl under a stump. There was a little burrow there. I'd crawl under the stump and hide.
пошел опять до ручейка.
That saved me.
Воды.
Well, I sat under a tree and waited until the mortar fire stopped.
Посадка, она вся вырубленная, ну, наполовину.
Then about 10 or 15 minutes passed, and I saw 2 of your soldiers coming in a rush.
Налетает, я сразу под пенек залазил.
I immediately said, I'm unarmed, this and that, I'm surrendering.
Я
They fed me. I hadn't eaten in 3 days. I had some tea. They fed me, damn.
переждал, пока миномет,
Then they took me to their people. At first I stayed at one position,
потом минут 10 прошло.
then to another, then to a third, and ended up here.
Двое на
They brought me here already.
ваших бойцов.
Yes, thanks to God, the Lord saves. I'm glad.
Я сразу сказал, я безоружен.
Honestly, it was the first time in my life I cried. The attitude is good. I can't say anything bad about how I'm treated. All this just scares our guys. Let the guys not even believe it.
Провели они к своим,
To be honest, in 3 days they fed me, gave me tea to drink.
другой
They used to say they had nothing to eat, but actually they have a lot there.
привезли сюда.
They have so much. It's just lying around. On the way, he was dropping packs. Canned stew was lying around. Pink salmon in packs was lying around. I was really surprised.
Плохое отношение.
Well, they lose things, take the supply guys on the road or whatever they're called. I don't really know.
Вот честно сказать,
In a whole month, I didn't fire a single shot.
чая дали,
But the guys figured out that I'm old and that I shoot very badly.
а в них есть
They called me the magazine loader.
много.
They sent me to load magazines, so basically, I was loading magazines in the dugout. What was so scary?
Я удивился.
Everything was scary. Drones, FPV drones, flying by just a meter away from me. I couldn't tell from which side, how they were tracking us, what was going on at all. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was in a panic. I didn't know where to go. I knew that if I stayed there another day, or 2 or 3, I'd either die of hunger or from lack of water.
Что сразу
I knew I had to do something, either go back to my own people or stay and wait for someone to come get me.
с какой стороны, как они вычисляют?
I kind of understand.
Вообще. Они
I was born in 1975. I grew up in the USSR. We were always a friendly people, even after the country split up.
будут там
We were always friends. I lived in Kazakhstan in Lopan. I used to go to Belgorod for gasoline. I traded gasoline.
Я знал, куда мне
No, I didn't support the government.
обратно к своим.
I don't support their policies at all. How can that be? Taking people, homeless people.
Я как
There was a prisoner named Yojik here with you too.
я
You interviewed him.
до рождения. Еще
He's homeless.
СССР.
Now I've become homeless too, because my home was bombed. Where's the life?
Все задружили. Я жил.
Thank God I was lucky.
Я ходил.
We are believers, we sell things, we work. Well, somehow I lived, somehow I survived, somehow I made plans. I was going to quit drinking. I had a woman with whom I could have started a family, maybe not a perfect one, but still I could have started a family and lived somehow until old age.
Где? Я
There are people like that who walk around cities with these big cans, according to the guy's stories, with these big cans. Those are the ones you need to catch, the ones with those gold chains. But they have protection, you see? They have TCC protection.
была у меня женщина.
Well, what kind of protection is that?
Создать семью.
It turns out it's bought protection, bought. A TCC guy shows him a paper and he has protection.
Такие ходят с вот такими
Is that normal?
по городам, по рассказам ребят.
That's not normal.
Такими банками. Вот их
That's why I advise, well, how not to get caught. If all the men just stay locked up at home during the day, in their apartments, not going anywhere.
купленная.
In the evening, only someone might go out to play dominoes or something else when the TCC isn't around.
Броня у меня.
They don't let anyone pass at all, those TCC guys, not at all.
Это ненормально.
I don't know, our people are very patient, Ukrainians endure for a long time.
Попадаться, если
I think at least that our government is afraid of what could happen.
никуда. Вечером
Then a civil war could break out. If all this stops, there could be a civil war. You understand that yourself. I didn't vote for anyone. I understand that someone voted on my behalf, but still,
долго терпят. Украинцы долго терпят.
I don't support the regime.
Хотя бы, чтобы они боятся.
At the beginning of the war, I was hiding in a bomb shelter, and Terekov, the mayor of Kharkiv, drove by.
Это все прекратится.
He promised to provide housing.
Будет гражданская война, вы сами.
Well, by housing, I mean a dormitory, a one-room place.
За меня там проголосовали. Ну,
But I never actually made it to his office, even though I went twice. I didn't make it. Well, luckily I managed to get myself registered as an internally displaced person.
проезжал Терехов, мы
I was getting $2,000 a month for a year. Then they suddenly stopped it.
Ну, как жилье.
So basically, there was nothing to live on at all. So, in the end, you were deceived? Yeah, I had to do all sorts of things.
Я дошел, ну,
At first, I had to scavenge through dumpsters, sleep in basements,
оформил себе переселенческий 2000.
but then some religious people helped me out.
Потом их что-то резко убрали.
Well, they're not really religious, but still,
Ну, жить вообще не на что было.
they did it for their own benefit.
Ну да. Приходилось.
I grew up in a poor family, damn it.
Мусорком сначала.
There were always shortcomings.
Подвалом. Но потом
So I spent my whole life drinking, boozing.
ну, как они не верят,
Because of that, I really lost my family.
тоже.
That's something I really regret now.
За свои выгоды. Вырос я в бедной семье, блин.
I don't want all of this to end, really. I really regret that things turned out this way for me.
Всю жизнь проалкогольничал.
A lot of people ask me why I didn't run away.
Сильно. Сильно сейчас о чем жалею.
There weren't many chances to escape. At my age, how could I run if I couldn't get out of my position? If it turned out that the guys got lost and I got lost too?
Сильно сожалею, ну,
Where could I run to?
что у меня так вот попало.
I was also carrying 60 kilograms in my backpack to the position.
Что-то не сбежал.
Were there a lot of losses?
А
Losses?
возможностей было мало.
Yes, a lot of losses. There were a lot of KAs, a lot of WIAs.
Если я с позиции не мог вылезть, если
There is definitely a lot on our side.
ребята потерялись, и я потерялся.
I don't know about your side, so I won't say anything.
Еще и 60 килограмм это
Well,
тянул на позицию рюкзак.
as for the KIAs, sometimes you crawl out of your hole to get some fresh air, but you know what kind of fresh air you get?
Сотых.
Because there are corpses lying everywhere, everywhere.
За вашу
And it's scary to walk around. You could run into a tripwire, a mine, a petal mine, or something else.
200-ми, ну, бывало снарывы.
It was even scary to crawl out of the hole. We always sealed ourselves in when the shelling started. They could throw in gas or all sorts of crap.
Потому что везде валяются трупы.
Because we wanted to live, it was very scary, really scary. I'm not saying that,
Можешь на растяжку или на мину
but I didn't go there of my own free will.
рваться.
Let people think what they want, but I absolutely did not go of my own free will. I had completely different plans for my life.
Потому что могут и кинуть газ.
By that time, I had already stopped drinking a lot.
Потому что жить
I
хотел.
started drinking again because there were reasons for it there.
Я говорю, что там.
I started drinking again.
Но я пошел туда не по своей воле.
I wanted to quit for the sake of this woman. You see, this whole situation with the investigative committee ruined everything, and it's the same for everyone. They take homeless people, they take absolutely everyone.
Не пил. Но запил из-за того, что
They take them, rummaging through the trash, they take them, film them, throw them into buses, haul them away.
подвязать там
They clean them up, pull them out, and that's it. And off they go.
Все наломало.
Well, we end up as cannon fodder, sent out like meat.
Всех.
I already felt it when they were equipping us, when they were taking us out to Matola, that they loaded us up like meat, and then dumped us out there from Matola like meat.
И вперед.
Even then, I suspected that we were a meat brigade.
Что на мясо посылать.
When I got to the position, I was completely shocked.
Когда нас снаряжали уже,
We were standing at the very edge.
что нас
So I realized if there's an attack, we'll be the first to get hit.
что мясо.
Thank God, after about 3 days, maybe a week, they pulled us out from the front lines.
Когда пришел на позицию,
Well, they're idiots, but I can't use swear words.
мы стояли самые крайние.
They're idiots for not digging trenches.
Если накат, мы
They're idiots.
попадем под
They just dug themselves some shallow pits to lie in, and that's it.
Дня через 3, через
They laid down some plastic sheeting and threw some branches over it.
Ну, они дураки.
2 of their positions were smashed, 9 people.
Они
So the guys wanted to pull back,
Они долбоёбы.
but there was an order from command. If anyone tries to retreat, open fire to kill.
Пленочкой настелили. И
So what are you supposed to do?
их в 2 счета
They even said that if everyone tries to retreat, they'd throw MTMs at them from Babai.
хотели откатиться.
Well, that's normal, that's humane.
Когда у меня приказ, если будут откатывать,
If I heard from your guys, I talked to them, the ones who fed us, made us tea. I'm not saying everything is perfect and beautiful there.
сказали, что
But with them, if you need to pull back, go ahead. If something isn't working out, retreat quickly so you stay alive. But for us, it turned out we were just cannon fodder. We were cut off. Ours were already at the edge. And the last ones from the medics' post were bombed, hit with mortars and all sorts of other stuff with drones.
но у них откат.
Ours was the very last position left.
У вас что-то не
So what did they do next?
быстрее, чтобы живут.
They hit the position in front of us. 1 KIA, 2 were taken prisoner.
Наша уже крайняя.
Then they hit another position further on.
Ну, раздел.
So now there was a gap of half a kilometer to the last position. Well, how could they get us out if the drones were flying? How could they evacuate us? No way. There was no way to get us out. I don't know how I survived. I survived by a miracle. Let the government, let the command hear this, but I survived by a miracle. Because it was thanks to God that I survived. And when I was climbing out of the hole, I was looking for my backpack. Maybe it sounds funny to you, maybe not. I always had a Bible with me. At that moment when I was on duty, I put it in my backpack. The backpack got buried, and I was searching for that Bible. I prayed the Lord's Prayer. I read the Lord's Prayer every day, in the evening, at lunch, and in the morning. I'm essentially a Christian, a believer. I never went to bed without praying. I believe that the Lord saved me, that He gave me life. Thank you guys for saving my life. I'm saying this simply as a human being. And to everyone who fed me there, made me tea. Don't take it the wrong way. Thank you so much for the fact that I am alive and healthy. I don't know what fate has in store for me next. Let the command decide. I don't know about the command. I've never seen them face to face. That's the command. I only knew them by their number, that's all. Please don't send people to the slaughter, especially people like me, alcoholics, drug addicts. Don't send us to the slaughter. Don't send them. They don't want to fight. You heard it yourself. 2 people go to the boat, and the third one doesn't even know what to do. You know yourself that everyone is broken inside. Everyone is panicking, everyone is freaking out. Please don't send people to the slaughter. Maybe I'm a bad person, maybe I got captured, but at least have some pity for the other people. So I want to appeal to everyone to somehow come to your senses. At least let the Central Committee come to its senses too. Honestly, I don't know how you all see this. They've rounded up homeless people, and people are walking around with cans, damn it, with pumped up muscles, with gold chains. And they've even got armor, seriously, damn it. And the guys, the men, were just let go. There were barely any young ones at all. And guys don't go to the slaughter either, refuse. I understand. Maybe there will be criminal cases, but I think it's better to sit in prison than to go to the slaughter. I feel sorry for everyone too. I know a lot of acquaintances, they're already 200s. A guy from my unit went in with me. He's already a 200. Macon and Roy say they're already 200s too. Kima, he was burned with incendiaries right near the dugout, burned with incendiary rounds. I know everything, how he died, how Philip died, our guide. In general, look at my team, just think about it. You said yourself that the 66th Brigade was the best. I know, maybe after these words you won't even take me for an exchange anywhere, but still, think about it. Don't send the men to the slaughter.
Вы же говорили, что самая лучшая 66-я бригада. Я знаю, может, после этих слов вы меня даже и в обмен не возьмете никуда, но все равно подумайте. Не пускайте мужиков на мясо.